as we've built the peg up a little bit, we're now starting to get a lot of silly bites. We're soon going to have to do something about it. Wow, coming shorter has absolutely transformed this peg. This one is a bigger fish as well, as I was hoping. Depth and distance is everything. Read what's going on in your peg and you will definitely catch a lot more fish. Good morning everyone. You join me on a typical English summer's day, very wet and cold and windy at the lovely float fish farm. We're on Phoenix Lake today, which is one of my favourite match venues. Come here a bit when I'm not on qualifiers and stuff, close to home, and the fishing is brilliant. They're not as big fish as some venues, but that's why I like it, lots of bites. We're going to be a bit technical today. We're going into, I'm going to call it controlling the peg, and basically what I mean by that is like we can choose in different depths and different distances from ourselves, which is really important, just to slow the fishing down a bit. If we're missing lots of bites and foul hookers, we can, I'm going to start off at a sensible distance from myself in deeper water and potentially come back, and then this afternoon we're going to go down the edge. It's the same depth everywhere, but we can slow the peg down if we need to by coming closer, and vice versa. If it slows down, we can go further away from ourselves. So it should be really simple. I'm going to keep it as simple as I can, but it's something you can take everywhere, any venue you go to, whatever sort of fish. So I think the first thing we're going to do is just plumb up and actually show you the differences of where we could possibly fish. So we'll get straight on with that. So the first thing we're going to do, I've slipped the plummet straight on. I'm just going to show you where we're going to start off fishing, and we'll show you with the plummet what we could possibly be doing if it goes a bit silly, which it often does. Like I say, there's smaller fish here, but it's the same if it was big fish. It doesn't matter. It's just if the pegs, there's too many there and you're foul hooking and stuff. So I've already been fishing, waiting for the cameraman, so I know this is right, but this is a full short kit, so you're getting on for 5.5, 6 foot. Got the plummet on, and it just slopes away. You can see it, well, you won't see it here, but I've literally on a top kit got 18 inches of water. I'm planning on fishing a top 5 here, just past me number 5 joint, and so I'm just dragging a little bit of line on because of the wind today, but that's perfect. We've got sort of the 6 foot. If the fishing's really good, I want to slow the peg down a bit because I could potentially be foul hooking fish and missing bites. So all I'm going to do then is just come back a section. I've got a separate rig for it, but you'll see it on here. That's the plummet on the bottom now. It's a good foot shallower, but the bigger part of it is it's closer towards you, and what happens there is the fish are a bit more wary. They don't want to be really close to you, so you're getting a few less there, a little bit less depth, and it's slowing the peg down, and it should make everything a bit cleaner, and you're not going to get as many bites, but there'll be proper bites. So I've got a separate rig set up, but there's no need to plummet. You can see it there. So we're just going to get straight on with fishing, I think, and hopefully we'll catch a few, and then it will go a bit silly. The weather's not great, but we are here pleasure fishing today on a good peg. Chose that for a reason, to try and we want it to go silly so we can show you how to change it. So I'm going to just get straight on with fishing, in all honesty, and hopefully catch a few. Right, so I'm going to start the peg today on my open water line. I've just chosen to fish meat today. I like fishing meat anyway. Anyone that knows me and follows me on Facebook and stuff, it's one of my go-to baits. But the reason I'm doing it today is because it sinks really slowly, and I'm trying to make the peg bad, if that makes sense, so we can show you what to do. And meat sinks really slowly, so they are going to come off bottom and potentially it'll go a bit weird. So that's the other reason we're doing it, but the same rules are going to apply whatever bait you're fishing. It's the distances, it's not to do with the bait. I'm just going to kick start my peg off, just getting just a pinch of 20 pieces of meat, a little bit of hemp. I like a little bit of hemp just as a little bed to fish over. Simply gonna, we're on a slope here as you saw when we were plumbing up, so it's about being very accurate. Got my marker on my pole. I've got the windmill straight in front of me, that's a perfect marker, and I'm just gonna tip that in there. That's literally all I'm gonna feed. We're not going silly. I'll put that down. Wet my elastic. Nice 6mm bit of meat on the hook. And ship out. It's very important. It's difficult when if it's towing sometimes, but with that slope, because it keeps going past where we're fishing, flicking out and letting it fall back in. I'm right on my marker. It's lined up. And hopefully we're not going to wait too long for a bite. I don't think we will. And to start with, we should have some nice clean bites. But as we feed more and more bait and there's more fish starting to come into the peg, it should, from knowledge of the venue, I think it will go a bit funny. Like I say, we're pleasure fishing, so we should get a lot of fish in the peg. And then we'll show you what to do to sort of control that next. Because you could have a spell where you're missing lots of bites, like say foul hooking and odd fishing, and we don't want that. You're not putting anything in your net. If you're pleasure fishing, that's just not, you're not going to be enjoying it. We all come to catch fish. There we go. Right, it's took us a few minutes, but first bite. I'm sure more will follow now. Not actually a very big fish for in here, but that's sort of the smaller end of the size carp we're going to be catching. Still, a couple of pounds, nice common. They are lovely fish in here. Get him straight in the net. As I said, it's important just to feed a bit of bait. Let it be sunk before we go out there. Or partly sunk anyway, give us a chance. Hopefully now we've had one, some more should follow. Getting out to my marker, swing it past it out the shelf, and then just hold it on your marker. Right, here we are, soon into a second. We have already missed a couple of bites, but like I say, it's not the end of the world yet. You're going to get that as a peg. Whatever fishing you're doing, when you first feed a peg, the fish don't quite know what to do with the feed. They sort of go a bit crazy around it, and it takes a few minutes to settle down. So we're not going to change what we're doing just yet. But I feel we're going to have to at some stage. Actually, not a huge fish again, this one, but another immaculate one. I've already seen it come up, sort of a ghosty mirror. There we go. A little bit bigger. And at this size, they're just eating machines, and you can imagine how, it's £3 that one. You can imagine how they swarm in on your bait, and that's where we're going to get problems. As a bit more bait goes in the peg and the fishing gets better, we're going to have to do something to control it, which is what we're going to move on to soon, hopefully. I'll just keep going until we do have real problems, but it won't take long. We're the only ones feeding up this end of the lake, and it is soon going to, I'm sure, go a bit silly. Right, so pole-wise today, I'm not actually using me top of the range, me MTX5, as fantastic a pole as it is. I've just got my MTX2 out today. We're only fishing short. I've only got 6 sections of pole out. That's going to be the max I'm going to go. So, and it's really windy. I wouldn't be fishing long even if I was in a match scenario or anything today. Oh, missed bite there. The beauty of it is with the whole range, all my top kits fit it. I've got to carry this as a spare in my bag anyway. And for days like today when you are only fishing short, it's just perfect. It's mega strong. Let's say all my top kits fit, so it's not like I'm changing lots of kit around. And yeah, just perfect for throwing around catching big weights of fish short, or like today, the weather's not very good, a lot of wind, pole sections are getting blown around. And it's just completely sturdy, absolutely perfect. Find myself using it a lot in the summer months, in all honesty. At this distance, you can't tell the difference anyway. It's just nice to have that bit stronger and just peace of mind, especially in the wind. I don't want to have a section behind me and it blows off, bangs into something. It's perfect. And let's say it is strong as an ox as well, so comes out a lot more than you'd imagine. Right, so I've been fishing for a while. Fishing's been really good. Been catching nice and steady, but as I said, I thought might happen, and what we're aiming to happen today is, as we've built the peg up a little bit, we're now starting to get a lot of silly bites. We've just foul hooked one, and we're soon going to have to do something about it, because otherwise we'll have bites all day. That's not going to be the problem, but we need to be putting the fish in the net. So we're soon going to have to look about actually slowing the peg down a bit, but making it so we're coming back with fish all the time. So we'll just see what happens this next couple of minutes. I've just while we've been turning the camera on, had a couple of funny bites. There's another one there now. Just feel like we're fishing in slightly the wrong place now. Yeah. So what I keep mentioning slowing the peg down, but what I'm meaning by this is, like now with our clicker here, the nice digital clicker, you're keeping an eye on the time all the while. I could be fishing there 10 minutes, have 10 bites, but only put 1 or 2 fish in the net. Whereas I could come back a little bit shorter, less fish would actually come into the peg, but in that same 10-minute spell, I might have 4 bites, but they're all proper bites, and I've actually put double the amount of fish. There's another silly bite now. It is, like I say, we've been fishing for half hour, there's a build up of bait. In a match scenario it might took a bit longer because everyone's doing it and you're spreading the fish out a bit, but this is what we wanted today, to be showing you this. So yeah, you can, the word busy idiot is a good one to use. I think you could be getting and striking at bites all the time, but you're not putting anything in the net, and at the end of the day that's what we're all trying to achieve. So slowing it down, getting less bites, but actual proper bites and hooking them, that's the aim of the game. I'm not going to give this much longer because while I've been talking I've had 2 or 3 missed bites. Clearly not quite right there now. I think it sounds terrible, but there's too many fish in my peg now, and I'm not actually achieving anything. Like I say, getting liners and they're competing and dashing around the peg. We want to slow it down. There's one, I've just bumped one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come straight back now actually. We're only coming back a section, so it's not going to take a lot of persuading them. If there's a lot of fish there, a few are going to drift out and come back, but less, because I'm only going to be 4 metres away from myself. There's the disturbance of me netting them and everything. They're going to be just that bit slower coming into that, and it's going to slow the peg down a touch, just make them that little bit easier to catch. I've already got a identical rig set up for just that section shorter. I'm just going to, because there's obviously all the feeds a bit further, I'm just going to start again, even less, 10 bits of meat, little pinch of hemp, just as something to draw that first fish back. And we're really close to ourselves now. As you can see, I could probably reach there with my landing net handle if I wanted. What you often do find on doing this as well, they are generally a little bit bigger fish a lot of the time, because you look at when you're fishing in the margins, they're noticeably your bigger fish of the day. We're getting closer towards that bit shallower water, and you'd be amazed, even though it's one section of pole, the fish could well get a bit bigger. We've not had anything above like 2.5, 3 pound yet. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we catch like the 4 and 5 pounders here. There we go. There's the first fish on that new line. Much better clean bite. Same sort of size, but you're more likely we're going to get some bigger fish there as the session progresses. Sold him there. Very lively, these small ones. Perfectly in the top lip, which is what we're looking for, whereas we were starting to hook them elsewhere. So another, all peas in a pod today, sort of 2.5, 3 pound. Again, feed your bait before you go in, and the beauty is now we're in a bit shallower water, that's going to be even closer to, or if not on the bottom by the time we put the rig in. So never rush, get that feed in, get your hook bait ready. That should hopefully be somewhere near the bottom now. Again, not easy in the wind, but just flicking it out that shelf and then holding it back into it on your marker. Float settles up lovely there. That's why we use the carbon, because you can get a bite on the way down as well. If you used a wire stem, you wouldn't see it. I'm not going into that too much, we've spoke about that before, but see, that's all set up. Hopefully, nice, quick, positive bite now. Right, so we started on this short line, had one bite, one fish, noticeably not as many bites, but that's like I say, that's actually what we want, because there you go, look, and again, a nice proper bite. Whereas if the float was moving about, and they weren't quite right earlier, these are just a nice positive dip on the float. Quick bite. This one is a bigger fish as well, as I was hoping. Much bigger fish, look, that's 4 pound this one. So I've waited a touch longer for a bite, but it's a lovely clean bite in the mouth, and it's double the size of what I caught on the other line as well, which is an added bonus. We're coming back to slow the peg down, but like I say, you will get bigger fish the shorter you come. Just getting in a monsoon here. All mirrors today, but beautiful fish. I say, absolutely immaculate condition, like a lot of the fish on this fishery. Pop him in there, we'll get him in the net. As you saw, like I said, I've actually netted him almost where I'm fishing, so that's going to, again, the fish, you're not going to have too many there, you're just going to have the bigger inquisitive ones coming into it. So get me feed out, but it's really, really noticeable. I'm not getting all the silly line bites. Every bite is, even the ones I caught out, they were funny bites. Here they're really positive burying, which is exactly what you want. Right, so the fishing's it's gone exactly as I'd hoped. We're catching still nice and regular. I've not missed a bite, they're all proper bites, slightly bigger fish. It's gone perfectly to plan, in all honesty. But it's not always going to happen like that. There's two scenarios that could possibly have happened. One, we would still be getting the funny bites and like an odd foul looked fish, and then we've got to slow it down again and come even closer. It doesn't look pretty fishing like just a top kit against our nets or just down the side here, but it's really effective. If there's that many fish coming there, you're just trying to slow it down again, and some venues you're into deep water quite quickly, and you'd be on a harder bank, so there'd be no fizzing or stuff. This is nice and hard, it's on a slope, so you're not getting that anyway. But some venues you'd be in silt at that range, so you're just coming back, slowing down. Particularly really, really effective like F1 venues, because there's a lot of them coming to your feed, and they sort of egg each other on, and they're not afraid to come close to you. Been at Tunnel Barn a lot recently. There's been a lot of meat fishing there, and it's literally all on a top kit. You don't go further than that. You can feed it really accurately, and the fish aren't afraid to come there, and they're just easier to catch. The further away you go, the more they come in, the deeper water you get, and you're creating problems. So don't be afraid to come really, really close. Even today on this venue, we're fishing for decent carp, but if I was missing all the bites still, I would just slow it down again and come closer. Now, the other thing that could have happened, we could have come back to where we are, and we wouldn't have we wouldn't have got any bites. Now, obviously if that happened, I would have tried going back out a section again, but you'd more than likely going to be having the same problems that we'd already had. So what we would do then is take this shallower rig and plumb it off at an angle. So we're in the shallower water, but I mean, by an angle I mean putting that other section of pole on, so we're further away from ourselves but in the shallower water. So it's the best of both worlds then. Obviously you're further away from yourself, then it's harder, especially on a day like this, feeding it accurately. But if we couldn't get them in that shallower water close, we'd have to find it a bit further away from us. So there is always an option of improving things. This is the main thing I'm trying to get across today. But at the moment, this is absolutely perfect. So we're not, and then it's soon going to be time to start feeding that edge and showing you how we go about doing that. Right, we're going to move on down the edge soon. It's gone like a dream, this. Not often it happens on camera for us, but just to summarise what we've done and why we've done it. Started on a top 5 in 6 foot of water, and it was really good initially, and then we started to get a few more fish come into the peg, a few missed by, lots of funny indications, foul hooked one, and it wasn't quite right. Just too many fish there. They were quite small stamped, like 2.5, 3 pound. So all I've done, I've restarted, just come back. Oh, there's another one now. Just come back a section, slightly shallower water, but more importantly closer to myself, just to slow the peg down. A few less fish coming into it, and it's worked absolutely brilliantly. We've not foul hooked the fish. All the bites have been really good fly unders. Hardly missed a bite there, and the fish have doubled in size. So it's literally everything I was hoping it would show you. Always difficult to get it to go exactly like that when you want it to, but today we've been very lucky. There's another one now. It's absolutely great fishing, and I could carry on doing it all day, but we're going to have a look at the rigs in a minute and then get down the edge. So I'll get this one unhooked and we'll have a look at those rigs. Right, so we've had a great morning's fishing, been catching really well. Coming back that section worked an absolute dream, much bigger fish, caught really well. So we're going to move down the margins in a minute, but before we do, I'm going to just talk you through my rigs. Starting with the top kits and the elastic, just a normal short kit. I'm absolutely sold on these, even for carp now. I know this is something that people talk about on social media and stuff. They are rated to a 12 elastic. I haven't got a 12 elastic in here. This is a 16 to 18 slick. I have never ever had a problem. I'm not telling you to go and try and rip fish's heads off. I do, as you'll see through the videos, I like to pull them a little bit. Never had a problem. I've even been using these for fishing for big carp now on venues like Decoy and Rookery, where they've not got a million miles to run off. I wouldn't ever dream of using them at Larford or somewhere, but they're perfect now. Fishing has changed a little bit. Modern fishing, these are perfect for it. So yeah, all 3 rigs, the margin one as well, which we'll cover in a minute. 16 to 18 slick in a short kit. No messing around with lines and hooks. I don't find there's any need to scale down for carp in the summer. The water's really coloured. They're aggressive fish. They're not bothered. Look at what a carp fisherman catches, and they have a lot thicker stuff than us. So all the rigs, it's just for durability. 0.23 power micron down to an 0.20 hook length. Both got 4-inch hook lengths. And then a size 12 MXC4. I've been fishing meat there, so I bury the hook in it anyway. So again, it doesn't matter. It's just a good hook hold. I could just play them nice and positively. Only difference in the 2 rigs, they're both carbon slims. One is for the top 5 line. I had a 0.5 on, just a back shot above it. And then there's a bulk of number 10s and a couple of number 10 droppers. Exactly the same for coming back a section, it's just a 0.4 float. It's just that bit shallower water, and I'm out the wind a little bit more there. Nothing uncomplicated. I could use the same size float really, but just being a bit tough-hearty, and it doesn't really matter. Just two I grabbed out my box. Yeah, dead simple gig. There's nothing fancy to it. It's just robust, holds the float nice and the bait nice and steady. Nice decent 1.8mm tip. It's perfect. While I've got the rigs in the hand, we're going down the edge now, so I could show you the edge rig. Again, on all the same setup, we've just got a 0.5 power margin on there. I've got 3 back shot this time, just because I want to be they're going to be steering my float around in the shallower water. Want to hold it nice and steady against them, keep it nice and stable. Just the bulk of our cube shot, 6 number 8 cube shot, exactly the same hook length and hook. I'm going to have a bunch of maggots on there. Only difference is I've got 3-inch hook length just to keep that weight down and keep the rig steady. Got one of our cups on, we'll go into that in a minute when we get fishing, which I want to do right now because I want to catch a load more fish. So. Right, so margin time. Can't wait for this. Margin fishing is, like a lot of people, one of my favourites. We know we're going to catch some nice big fish. So we're going to go, obviously we're doing about controlling the peg today. I've plumbed up all along the bank. We're going to start on a top 6. We're not going too far again. It's windy and there's no need to on this venue anyway. It's all the same sort of depth along there, within an inch or two, all the way along the bank in there. So how are we going to control this one? I'm going to feed a bit of bait to start with, palm full of micras, same with maggots. I want to get some fish competing first. I'm not loose feeding, so I want a volume of bait for them to come in and come over. If it starts going funny, there's 2 ways of controlling it. First, we can cut right back on the feed and try and starve them on the hook. I've got a large toss spot on there at the moment. I've got a medium here, one ready. I can just try and put a little less bait in and get them competing. But once they're coming into it and they're going mad, we can't come into shallower water, but we can still come closer to each other. So if it goes a bit crazy, I'll try and cut down on feed and then I'll be moving back. I'm not going to just come back a section, I'm going to jump a fairway and come like a top kitten 1 down here. If they don't come there, I've always got the option of going back to them, but I don't want to be putting mounds of feed every pole section and like setting a trap everywhere that's going to struggle to get him here. I want that to die and to come close, and then I can work my way back if it's not so good. I don't think we'll have that problem, but that is the options you've got. So I'm going to just put this straight in now, get fishing, and then it's going to be play it by ear. We'll see what happens. I think we'll get some bites. It's just about keeping it all nice and clean and keeping them coming on the actual hook. So I've just dumped that in. Like I say, I don't think it's going to take us long. It's not like we're fishing for big 10 and 15 pounders. These are eating machines, so they're normally straight on your bait. So, oh, losing my cupping kit. Just put that down there. Not going to put anything in my toss pot to start with. I've just put a load of bait there. Just going to bait up with half a dozen maggots on the hook. There's a lot of hide and stuff like that in there, so I want quite a big bait. You will still catch them on it, and they are lovely fish, but not really what we're after today. Again, I've got my marker out there. I'll go over it. I don't think it's going to take us long for a bite. Actually got a bit of reed in the water now, which I don't want now. I'll just move that out of the way. Right, we're in position. So these, I've fished this lake a lot of times over the years now. These corner pegs, they are where we sat today. They do generally, they just live around these big reed beds. So it's never normally going to take you long for a bite, so I'm not expecting that to be a problem. Right, we've just gone down the edge. Took us a few minutes for a bite, but we've had a couple straight away. I'm just feeding a large toss pot of micros at the moment, and so far nothing needs to change. So while we're saying about controlling what's going on, if it's all going all right, there's no need to change it, but nothing ever stays the same in fishing, so we're just going to carry on with it for a minute. Again, it could be like, it's most probably be like our short line. It's all right to start with, and as more and more fish come in, that's when we need to change. So just going to carry on with it for a few minutes, hopefully get a few more. Oh, I've got one now, and it's snagged me up down the edge. Snagged me up, I've never had that. Oh, he's come out, he's come out. Well, I got a bit lucky there. He got me in a load of reeds, and I thought he'd come off, and then he's just swum out, so we can keep going through the motions with it. But I think it's foul hook, which is, well, it's exactly what I was saying. I'm having to feed more to get a bite, but now I'm too far away from myself. There's too many coming in, which is where, in all honesty, I'm going to plumb straight up closer. I'm not even messing around, because I know the fish are telling me I've got to feed a lot of bait to get them there. They're hungry, they want bait, but there's too many coming in there. There's been swells, and I've only been fishing for 15 minutes. I just know I'm doing the wrong thing already, so I'm going to get this off and we'll replumb up nice and close to ourselves. Coming closer is definitely going to avoid that. We have got him though. Right, so after our last thing, we started on a top 6 down that bank. There were fish coming in. Felt like we had to feed a bit of bait to get them there, which might just be the weather. It's very cold and we're going into shallower water, and might not be really where they want to be, because they were certainly responding further out. So I've come straight back because we foul hooked some and it didn't seem right. Come right back into a top 4, which is the same distance we've caught on with the meat, and no signs there at all. So now I'm just trying to find that happy medium. I've got another section down. I'm just hoping we can catch there. As I said earlier, if I'd have just come back that one section and that was good and that had gone wrong, I'd have then had to come another section back, and I'd have had 3 different piles of bait and bait being blown around everywhere. So I came straight back to the short one. What happens there is, like, they haven't come in on it, which is, but I know they won't come there now. But because they're not coming there, they're not disturbing that bait. It's just that bait's been left there. So now I'm just working my way back to try and find the happy spot. But in all honesty, we've just been moving around with a camera in the reeds and getting that all set up over the float. Might take a minute, but I'm just feeling today, while they're very happy to come short in that deeper water, they don't really want to be in the edges, I don't think. It's very non-summery, quite cold. The wind blowing into there, and I just don't, it doesn't feel like they're that happy to be in there. So I might actually end up back where I originally started. I've tried to make things better and it's not working, so then I would have to do it through feeding, and they obviously want some quite a bit of bait, but like putting it in one hit isn't right. You foul looking them, so then I'd be, oh, there we go. Actually, I take it all back. Like the happy medium, halfway down, I've just had a bite, so that's perfect. That is what I wanted. I didn't want to be getting hundreds of bites and foul looking and the float going round. I want that's one fish come in there and a proper bite. So this time, hopefully, we can. I can just do that now. So it's all about just letting the fish tell you what they're happy with on the day. There we go. It's the first one from that spot. No silly bites. It was literally like that one came in the peg and I had it. And I have put a big pot there to start it off. So hopefully we found like the sweet spot as such now. Nice fish again. Found the little sweet spot, and that'll be the best area. Still, it could change as the day goes on. They could come in on that bait that's really close. Obviously, that's the easiest place to catch them because they're not going to come in the numbers, and you're really close to you, so you've got complete control seeing what's going on. But they're not. They weren't happy to come there yet, and I don't think it's the day for it. It was that touch shallower again. So now we're just trying to find that sweet spot, like where there's enough coming in to catch well, but we don't want stupid volumes of fish and the peg goes all scatty. So hopefully now we've had one, we'll have some more there. So we just hooked another one down that slightly shorter edge. It's not been quite as prolific as we'd have hoped. I just don't think the fish want to be in the shallow water properly today. It's I'm cold, so they must be. Still caught a few there. It was far better than a bit longer down there. When you do get a bite, it's a proper one, but yeah, nowhere near as prolific. They've just wanted to be in that slightly deeper water where we caught short today. But I hope you've learnt loads from it though. I'll just get this one unhooked. So there's another one, maybe the last one of the day. We're getting cold and wet here. So I hope this demonstrates like how the differences in depths and distance have can change your fishing. Obviously with the short line fishing, just a section back was so much better, bigger fish and much cleaner bites. The margins today, let's say it's been very cold and they don't really seem to want to be there. Definitely coming back that bit, I've got cleaner bites, but there's just not enough fish coming in full stop today. As you can see, it's a freezing cold wind and the fish just don't want to be in that shallow water. Again, it shows you that just that bit difference in depth. Even though like we fished the top four there and there, never had a fish come in that bit shallower water, but they were lined up at the same distance away from you. It's, yeah, depth and distance is everything. So bear that in mind when you go fishing. I hope you've learnt plenty from it. It doesn't matter, as I said at the start, it doesn't matter on what baits or tactics you're using. The same rules apply to it all. So take that with you, read what's going on in your peg, and you will definitely catch a lot more fish.